Hello, Las Vegas. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golf at the Park, Angel Park Golf Club's weekly interview show. You know to like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it. But what we try to do is get right into the show each week. And this week, we've got Alex Wilson on the show. Alex, thanks for coming in.
What's up? Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be fun. We have different kinds of people on the show, guests, every week. Alex actually intertwines really recently, but we're going to get to all of that later. Let's just start, Alex, with how you got introduced to golf. What age were you when golf even came into your life?
So my first experience with golf wasn't with golf itself, but I grew up in Atlanta till I was like 11. And our backyard backed up right to the woods, and then through the woods was like hole 17 or something at Windermere Golf Club in Atlanta. And the way this hole worked is it was this par 4, and there was the tee box over here. They had to carry this big old bit of crap onto this elevated fairway, which then dipped down again onto this lower green that was 100, 200 feet lower than it was really an amazing hole now that I remember it. I think about
so forced carry and then
a big downhill.
Yeah.
But it's a dogleg right, so you have to carry it onto this elevated fairway that's over to the right of you, and the side of the hill on the right side it goes down with this grass that's like it's like 2 feet long. Like you're not going. No old man is looking for
rough.
A golf ball on that hill, and then it's the forest. So it's like a slicer's worst nightmare, which is all of us. And
this is in Georgia?
This is in Atlanta. Yeah,
Atlanta?
This is in northern Atlanta. And me and my younger brother, Nathan, Spencer was a little bit too young at that time, and then our two neighbors, Thomas and Andrew, we would go back there and we would take 5-gallon buckets. Like each of us would take buckets.
Oh, just go clean all the balls out.
We would find so many golf balls. I kid you not. I'm 31. That's when I was 8, 9, 10, 11. My dad still has bags of golf balls from Atlanta that he'll play. He doesn't even buy golf balls. He'll just go out to the garage and be like, "Oh, these ones
just got shag
these
bags
are okay."
full of them.
It's unbelievable. And so what we did, my dad's a big business guy. He's like, "You should clean these up. You should go sell them." We didn't know the difference between like a $5 ball and a $1 ball.
Right.
We just thought the balls with cool pictures on them were worth more. So we would say that you could buy 5 for $1 if they didn't have a picture, but it was 3 for $1 if they had a picture.
Pictures?
And we'd go sit on the 17th tee box after we clean them all up, and the golfers would come through, or maybe it wasn't. I forget which hole it was, but it was middle of the back nine.
But they'd pick through and clean you out.
And they never bought the ones with the pictures. They're just buying the Pro V ones or whatever, and just getting the nice balls for cheap. And until some grumpy old man ratted us out, and my dad got a letter that we can't sell balls on it. We're like 10. You give me a break.
The man coming in and tearing down another fine institution.
But that was my first I don't know time in golf, like really thinking about golf and all of that, and it was so stinking fun. I actually in a week, my dad just bought a new truck and had some work done on it in Atlanta. And for the first time in 20 years, I'm going to go back and be on that golf course.
How fun!
We moved when I was 11. I have not been back to Atlanta since I was 11. And it's like only the dream parts of my childhood still live there in my memory. I haven't been back. We're going to go back. We're going to see our house. I'm going to walk through those woods. We're going to go to the pro shop. It's like a private club. We couldn't get a tee time. But I'm going to go to the pro shop. I'm going to buy some ball markers and some polos and stuff
so
of
great.
Windermere Golf Club. I still have one divot fixer, one ball mark fixer that says Windermere on it, and it's one of my prized possessions that I keep because that was just like such a special place to me when I was a kid, right? And so
I can't wait to hear about that trip.
I'm really excited to go check
fun.
it out. Yeah, we're gonna pick the truck up and drive back across the states and.
So what year did you, because I know you grew up, or you're from St. George, right?
Uh-huh,
so
yeah.
What year did you end up headed over there?
So full life story, I was born in St. George, lived there for 6 weeks, and then we moved to the East Coast. We were in Connecticut for a bit, Atlanta for 7 or 8 years, and then my dad got into real estate at the worst time in the history of the world, back in St. George, southern Utah, which is, for anybody that doesn't know, it's like 2 hours north of here. And so we moved back right before I turned 12, right before my 8th grade year of school. And that was traumatic, but it was fine. It was good. And from then, I've just been a desert kid. I just grew up just, once again, 2 hours up the freeway. If it's 115 degrees here, it's 113 in St. George. It's just hot's hot, right? And yeah, so I've been there since graduated high school. A lot of Utah boys go on 2-year service missions,
Yep.
so I went and did one of those in South America and Argentina, and then did school in northern Utah. And this kind of transitions into when did I really get back into golf is when I finally graduated school, which my ADHD kept me from actually sticking to a major for longer than a year, right?
Been there.
Which a lot of us feel in college. I finally got a communications degree at 26, got a decent job, and was like, I got money and time now. Why not waste my time and money on golf? This could be fun.
That's great. So that's when you actually start getting bit. Let's go back a little bit though, because you said you went to high school in St. George, and St. George not only is known for wonderful golf courses, but really good golf teams.
Oh, absolutely. And that's I was mentioning this to you before. This is one of my biggest regrets, which is cliche because I think every guy who's getting into golf in their 30s is like, I wish I played high school golf. But I moved there beginning of my 8th grade year, summer before 8th grade. And from 8th grade to senior year, 5 full years, the Dixie High golf team took state 5 years in a row. And I just look at that, and I know those kids that are on that team, and I'm like, I could have been. I could have done that. I could have done that.
Played on that team.
Although I got scared out of it because my best friend went and tried out for the team in 8th grade, and we asked him how he played at the tryout or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, I shot a 94 or whatever." And we're like, "Oh, that's great." And it's like the classic punchline. He's like, "On the front nine," and I walked home. We're like, "Oh, that's traumatic. I don't want to."
Yeah.
So I didn't even think about it. But also my dad he only played a little bit in his 30s and then just never took me. We never played anymore. Like I played junior golf as a JAG or whatever when I was like 10 for a year, but just never played any more than that when I was growing up, which is crazy because I got into rock climbing in college and golf just after college, which are the two like best things to do outside in southern Utah.
Yeah.
And I wasted my entire growing up not doing either of them. I didn't climb and I did.
You just took the long road.
I guess
there's nothing wrong with taking the scenic route.
I guess, but yeah, it was. I mean, it's St. George golf is amazing, and I guess it's kind of cheesy, but most tender to me is my grandpa Dale, who is legitimately the nicest person in the universe. He's been playing golf 5 times a week for the last 60 years. He's the kindest man ever. And when I get to go back to town, which it's nice because my family, my parents and my wife's parents are both right there in St. George. So we've got the perfect buffer of it's like enough distance that if we don't really want to go to that family event, we can be like, it's just too much with our kids or whatever. But if we want to be there, I can leave in the morning and be there by lunch. So it's the perfect gap, but I can get up there and play golf with Dale because I know 15 years from now when he's not around, I'm going to regret every tee time I missed with him.
Yep.
And so
you get to play golf fairly regularly.
Yeah, I get to play with him, and I'm getting my dad into it now, which is great. Instead of the dad trying to get his son to play golf, I'm literally forcing him. We went to Costco. We got him the new Costco wedges. We took him to Uinta Golf and got him new grips on it. We are going to the range more often.
Well, we'll get to content later, but that's a content piece, man. You could attack that from. This isn't a father trying to get his son to play. This is a son trying to get his dad to play.
Episode 5 of trying to get my dad good at golf or whatever. Yeah, that could be funny.
That's fun. And we're gonna get into content because that's kind of how we met Alex very recently. Yeah. But so let's go back to 26. You said, and you've got a little disposable income, and you now you're gonna start trying to take the game seriously. You think what happens?
So what happened was I always had this idea literally baked into me with delusional confidence from age 11. One summer of doing like a junior golf league, I was like, I'm great at golf, but I just never played right. And so I would go out once every other year with Grandpa all the way through then. But I seriously, from age 12 to 25, I don't think I played 7 rounds of golf. like actually. And they were all scramble events with Grandpa because he invited me and my dad. And so one Christmas break, randomly, I had a buddy in town and then another buddy who was playing more often. And I played maybe 3 or 4 times because every Christmas, my wife and I will just go to St. George. And I played 3 or 4 times and I hit enough good shots to be like, oh, this is really fun. The one shot, it's funny.
You remember the shot?
I remember the shot that I was like, oh, I could do this. We were playing. It wasn't even an event. It was all the uncles on the Larkin side, on my mom's side. We were playing a 4v4, two groups right against each other, and we were tied going down the last. And I remember the hole at, I think it's at Coral Canyon. It's this downhill. I had a 7-iron. It was like 140 yards or something. Like I don't know, and I had like one swing thought in my, like I remember all the details. My long-term memory is amazing. My short-term memory is terrible. Once again, ADHD is kind of miserable sometimes. And I had the swing thought that if I just dragged the club across the ground for the first foot, I was staying more extended and I wasn't topping the ball every time. And so I had that little swing thought. I hit this perfect shot, and they'd already finished up on the green in front of us. So all 4 of them
were watching,
are off the green watching.
Got a grandstand.
I'm the last one in the group to hit on our little scramble thing. I stick it to like 12 feet, which is unbelievable.
For you, yeah.
And I go up, I pull my putter first. I don't even wait for the group. And I just go hit the putt in first try, and my whole group's losing. And we won the little thing
That's
against
so
the other uncles. And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
That's where it bites you.
Right, absolutely. And so I go to Dale. I'm like, hey, Dale, my grandpa, do you have like an extra set of clubs or something? And we literally walk out. Dale walks me over to his shed and opens it up, and there's 3 bags with different. He's like, take these irons and this putter and this driver, and you can have this 5-wood or whatever. I was like, oh, cool, awesome. And so I got a set of 1985 Ping I2s, senior flex, 1 degree flat. Absolutely not fit for me. I'm 6'3". And I made them work, man, and I just started practicing.
Ping I2 Berylliums were my first set of clubs, passed down to me from my father. In the 80s, they were the best set of clubs you could get. And I think you were even telling me that they might still be the most sold set of irons of all time.
So the stat that I remember reading about them, because I was really curious about when I got them, I'm a research freak. I love to, if I'm going to buy something, I do way more research than I need to, but it's enjoyable. And I found out that the Ping I2s, because every year it's the Sim 2, the Sim Max, the M6, M5, M4, M3, M2, and every year they come out with a different line. And the Ping I2 was not changed. The offering was not changed for like 11 years, which is the longest running offered set of clubs by a manufacturer ever. Which is crazy.
That's so wild. And the Answer 2, the Ping Answer 2 is still a putter that you can buy in any golf shop.
Absolutely.
They're timeless. So
yeah.
So that was a good set of clubs, though, even though you weren't fitted for them.
I wasn't fitted for them, but I made them work. I was just so late. I've got a couple videos I have saved away of like the first swing videos that I've ever recorded and stuff. And I think recording your swing is miserable because if I record some swings tonight and I think they're my best swings ever, I can look at swings from 3 weeks ago that I thought was my best swing ever and just be embarrassed by it, right? Like, you're never happy with anything that's not your absolute current best.
That's something about your personality more than golf.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but golfers tend to share that trait. Yeah, that's a common.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's definitely the obsessive nature of my brain, and also something that I'm super open about talking about is like, especially like men's mental health and how so much ties into all, like I'm very passionate about that, and I've tried very hard to be a resource to my buddies about like, hey, we're all kind of messed up. Like, it's okay to talk about how we're messed up and then like problem solve. Like, it's okay. And so I've really started to understand how my ADHD impacts my relationship to golf. And it's honestly awesome, but we can get into more of that later.
Oh, we're going to. I mean, I'm just sitting here excited and trying not to interrupt you. I think mental health is low-key one of the most important things that this show has started tackling. And
absolutely,
it started early. It's not even anything that was new to the show, but the more we talk about it, the more comfortable I get. And I think that it's not only informative, it can be inspirational, and it's another common theme that is tied to golf. COVID really brought out that people wanted to play golf physically to be able to get outside, to get a little bit of exercise, but the mental health aspects of it are amazing. Talk about your ADHD and how you've struggled with it in your life, and how you've learned to use it to your advantages.
Yeah, so I think the best way to never get over any issues, not even get over it, but manage anything, is to pretend it's not real. I mean, since I was like 7 or 8 or 9, like, it's always been very obvious that I was never the HD part, the hyperactive, but just my long-term memory is unbeatable, and my short-term and working memory and focus on things that aren't super interesting is really pretty limited. But over the last year or two especially, I've done so much research into, and I'll preface anything I say with, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I'm not a medical professional, but I've come to understand how it impacts me and how it affects how I see the world. And the easiest way to understand it is this. The biggest difference between my brain, or an ADHD neurodivergent brain, and a standard one is essentially like fuel, like how your brain gets fuel. A normal brain sees a task or an idea, and then there's a part of the brain that releases some fuel. The fuel is adrenaline and dopamine. Those two pieces get basically put on a little cart and get sent over to your brain to then do things, to then have a task in mind and then do that task. The issue with an ADHD brain is there's a piece of that puzzle where there's basically a cleanup crew that lives in the middle between where the cart starts and where your brain lives, and they're overactive. So when that fuel gets sent to your brain to go and do something, it kind of gets cleaned up, and then you're asked, like, hey, go pick up the groceries from the store, but also here's my keys to my car, and it's out of gas.
Yeah.
So you're sitting here like, oh, like, I see what I should do. I know why I should do it, but I literally, and Andrew Huberman has an amazing few podcasts on this, who's like a Harvard scientist, mental health guru, amazing guy. And so you're sitting there, literally, I know what to do, why I should do it, how to do it, but I lack the fuel and the energy to actually execute on this task, which then, for me, the biggest piece is it's led to just an incredibly high level of negative self-talk and like mental abuse. Mm-hmm. Because I consider myself relatively clever and intelligent, and knowing all of the whys and the hows and the how to do it better than most anybody else in the room, once again, delusional confidence, but then justifies me beating the crap out of myself for not doing the things I know I should do. Right? And so the next step on this, and I'll keep it relatively simple, is this. In my brain, there's always 17 tabs open. That's one of the other functions of ADHD. It's a
great analogy.
You have a million things going at the same time. And if you were a computer that had 17 tabs open, what's the one thing you crave? Closing 16 of them, right? Doing one thing at a time. The way my brain can do that, one more thing on that. For example, in my brain at all times, there's a song playing. I can't turn it off. I can't stop it. There will be a song playing.
Is that an analogy or
no? It's
literal?
Real. It literally, at any point, there's like a background, like I'm just like humming a tune or thinking of a song.
Is it a specific song, or is it sometimes just something you're humming?
It's just whatever's in. Lately, it's been pirate shanties, which I don't know if that's. I don't know why. It's been, I wish I was a pirate sometimes. So there you go. But there's always that song playing. But I found if I can just play a song, like on my phone or in the background, then my brain doesn't have to play the song, and I relieve just a little bit of bandwidth.
That's fascinating.
Right? And so instead of trying to drive 6 remote control cars at the same time and win a race, now there's only 5, and I have a little bit more bandwidth. And so it's finding ways to limit that. But all my brain wants, and all most ADD brains want, is one thing to do at a time. And the main trigger for that is if it's really exciting or fun, or if it's really urgent. Exciting or urgent, that's the ticket. That's what actually allows you to turn everything else off, and you're doing one thing. And so for me, that's why deadlines are amazing. Like if a paper's due at midnight, as soon as it's 11:42,
Yep.
I'll write you an A+ paper
Yep.
in 18 minutes.
That's right.
Because it's one thing. Everything else turns off, and I get to operate at 300% capacity on one task. And as soon as something's really fun, which for me, like golf, for example, and gaming for me has been great because when I'm gaming or when I'm golfing, nothing else exists, and my brain is just at peace because there's one thing that I'm focused on. And it's legitimately therapy, and my brain is like juggling all these things, and all of a sudden we're golfing, and it's like,
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
just gonna relax, right? Which is, I mean, obviously you got to balance life and golf and all the other things to keep it healthy, but finding ways to give my brain one thing to do at a time has been incredible, and it also helps me understand why I can be in a conversation, even like with my wife, and she's trying to tell me something important. And it's important to me to listen to her. It's important to me to help her feel listened to. But my brain's just trying to go somewhere else because if something isn't super exciting personally to me, which doesn't mean she's not exciting, right?
Of course.
But my brain is currently juggling all these things. And so she's able to offer me a little bit of grace when I do get distracted in those moments. And I'm also able to realize there's a lot of other things going on. I'm going to actively not dive into those and give more energy to this space. And so I feel like, basically in summation to a lot of this ADD stuff, the more I've learned about it and accepted that it's a piece of how just my coding, the more I've been able to problem solve around it, give myself a little bit of freedom to like not be perfect and super present all the time, but also find ways to create that presence and to be more involved, right? So
And
hopefully that made some sense.
It makes perfect sense,
Okay.
and I think it's a seamless transition into you've probably that's a great way to approach golf, right? I mean, the browser idea of there's plenty of things to think about or focus
Yeah.
about in the game of golf, but when you said that you were just focused on one swing thought.
Yeah.
Sometimes swing thoughts come up and they change, right? What's your swing thought right now over the last week or something that you've been repeating to yourself or working on the most?
I think I swing the best with the littlest pause at the top of my backswing. But when I think about the pause, I lose my balance. And so I found a different thought that helps me take a pause and sequence my swing a little bit better, which taking somebody else's swing thought doesn't always work. When I feel myself get to the top, I imagine my left shoulder makes it all the way over, right kind of in front of your body. And I see it line up with my left knee and my left foot. So I get all the way back to here. I can see the ball and I can see my left knee, foot, and shoulder. And they all just kind of sit just a little bit of pressure into the lead
And
side
that's your
altogether.
pause.
And that's the pause. That's the start of the sequence. And from there, everything, like if I'm on the course, I don't want to think about lag, and I don't want to think about hand position, all these things. I literally just get to the top, feel the littlest bit of a sit, and then everything turns through together. And that's been
And you
that's
watch it
been
happen.
great.
Yeah, you've got a point,
It's like easy,
a lineup point.
visual, and because if I get to the top and throw, I got these big old long noodle arms, and I just lose the club, and I hit behind it, and I lose. So golf has been very learned for me. Like I'm pretty coordinated in general, but I'm not like a super strong. Like I'm not like hitting bombs all the time.
Right.
Like it's been learned, and with longer arms, I feel like the club head is just so far away so often, and so I have just focused more on like control and club head awareness and sequence and all of that. And I play good enough golf to not be too frustrated most of the time.
Let's talk about your practice routine. Do you have is it always different, or do you have things that when you go out, you have a program or a routine you run through?
So the worst part of my game is putting because it's the thing I refuse to practice, which is I got a comment on a post the other day, and they were like, "Hey, what do you do? How do you work on your bunker shots?" And I responded with, "The key is never work on your bunker shots. So when you hit a bad one, you can't be that mad. Because if I work on my bunker shots too much and I hit a bad one, I'm just going to be so mad. You know what I mean? If I hit a bad putt and I've been practicing my putting, see right now, if I skull out of a bunker, which I did yesterday at Painted Desert, I just sculled one right out of a bunker into the water. And I was like, huh, well, it's all right. And the same thing with putting. I was just like, I also to feel connected. Once again, kind of the further I am from the club head, the less confident I feel. I play a short putter. I play a 33-inch putter, and I'm 6'3", and I bend over like a freaking old man. And I can't practice putting for too long, or my back actually hurts. And so I'm just like, whatever. So my practice routine, though, is I love chipping. I think it's my favorite part of golf. I absolutely love chipping in pitch shots and stuff. And so
I think one of the questions that I asked towards the end of the first segment is what's your favorite thing about golf? So not to interrupt you, but let's talk about, you just said it might be your favorite thing. Let's talk about chipping then.
My favorite club to use is my 60 degree, which I know you shouldn't use all the time, but also I think use whatever you're comfortable with.
You should use whatever you're most confident with in your hands.
And so I love anything inside 80 yards. I feel really confident I can put inside like 10 feet.
You can get up and down.
So and we'll talk about this as well when we talk a little bit more about content, is I built a hitting bay in my garage.
Yeah, can't wait. And you've got a backyard thing too, don't you?
So that's my parents' house in St. George.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which I'm just shamelessly abusing for views, which is going great, by the way.
It is going great. Well, we can start segueing into that. So the show, as all of you know who have been watching, has become more and more, it's going to end up being its own segment. I think the first segment will be golf story, and then the second segment will be content. We're going to talk a lot about the golf content space. And so let's jump right in. We had a content contest in September. Most of you took a part in, and it was really fun and inspiring, and everybody got into it and was doing all of these cool things. And occasionally I would see someone who forgot to tag us or forgot to add us as an option to collaborate, but I would see it in the pages, and I would give them a ticket, and I would be like, oh, that's cool. But I started seeing Alex's content, and I was like, he's not even in the contest, and he's doing these really fun pieces at Angel Park. And you did 2 or 3, and then they were really successful. And that's where you just started your content. Was about a month ago, started creating content?
I think I'll pull it up. Let's see. Today
yeah,
is
we can look it up.
Today is the 14th.
We'll get into, we're going to back up to explain it, but yeah, it happened at the same time, and so I was really excited.
Today is the 14th of October, and my first post on my golf Instagram account was on the 10th of September.
Yeah, so a month ago. That's awesome.
So yeah, a month ago.
So let's go back before we get to that, because I can't wait to do that. But let's talk a little. You brought up gaming and golf content that you can consume.
Yeah.
So tell us about, especially in the pandemic, right? TikTok blew up, and content, it wasn't like it wasn't there before, but it really has had a seismic shift in the last 3 years.
Oh, absolutely.
So what content have you found yourself over the years consuming the most? Because that's going to have an impact on what you're producing.
Yeah, so
now.
This is actually a pretty fun story for anybody that follows golf content and knows especially some of the bigger names in golf content. But I was really into gaming kind of in college. I had some buddies that had moved away, and the way we stayed connected was through gaming. And also, I never really played competitive sports or anything, and so I started playing competitive Call of Duty Search and Destroy matches on like a ranked website, which is the nerdiest thing to say out loud in a full sentence.
But also,
but me and my friend, like,
there's a tribe of people who that's
literally I have never felt more like nerves and competitive like energy than the bracket we were in. Was this 2v2 search and destroy ladder on gamebattles.com, and we would play these ranked matches that were so intense. They were so intense, and it's so silly. If you haven't ever done it, you think it's so lame. I promise you do. But oh my gosh, me and my buddy Gerald would play these, and it was awesome. So anyway, I was really into gaming for a time, and then college, graduated, got some golf clubs, started getting into that. At a dead beginning, no lessons, no nothing. I was like, how do you hold a golf club on YouTube? I find Rick Shields. I'm like, oh, cool. This guy's nice.
He's come up before.
Yeah, he's the godfather of golf YouTube, right? And so I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I watched some more of his videos, and I saw some videos of him playing with Peter Finch, who maybe you know as well.
Sure.
And I was like, oh, I love both these guys. I think I maybe even prefer Peter Finch. This guy's cool. And then I saw a video of Peter Finch playing in some goofy challenge video with Brody Smith, who's like he's been on YouTube. He's done like some Frisbee stuff as well. And then this little 17-year-old skinny kid, Garrett Clark, who is GM Golf, who is good, right?
Yeah.
But this is
Before.
he's got 15,000 subscribers on YouTube.
So
at
this is
time.
early.
This is forever ago. And I was like, oh, I love this kid. This kid's cool. And this kid's younger, too. Heck yeah, I'm going to subscribe to that kid's channel. I went over and I subscribed to Garrett Clark's channel. I was like, literally, he had less than 20,000 subscribers. He had 1 million subscribers last night on YouTube. And so I started following along with him like religious. Like I watched every single Garrett Clark video, which was GM Golf, and just continued. I watched him build his channel to a couple 100,000 subscribers, and then they started Good, right? Mm-hmm. And Good started taking off. I've been in sales for a long time, and I move around for sale. I do like direct sales, and I was selling solar panels in Dallas. I moved out to Dallas, and that's where the Good guys were stationed out of.
Yep.
And every time they'd post all these videos at this range that I knew was called Waters Creek Golf Club or whatever, or the courses at Waters Creek or whatever. And I was like, I wonder how far away that is from our new apartment, because I was like getting ready for the summer to go out and sell. And I put it in my maps, and it was 9 minutes from my apartment was Waters Creek. I was like, there's no way. I show up on like a Thursday afternoon.
They're down
I'm
there
exhausted.
filming
I
stuff?
literally just drove for 22 hours from St. George. And
Your
I'm
first day there, you go to the range.
and I'm literally, I like drove all day and through the night, and I like did miserable idea, terrible idea, a lot of caffeine. I was like, I'm curious, I'll just go. And I go to the range that night, and Garrett and Steve and Bubby from Good are all there, and I'm just like, I've got my Good towel on my bag. I'm wearing a Good hat. I'm like, there's no way. And I went up and I met them, and they were so gracious and so kind, and it was insane. I would literally go 2-3 nights a week, and if I went 3 nights, 2 of those nights they'd be there. I'd put my balls down by them at the range. We'd hit and talk, and I've got a video on my phone that I don't know if I'll ever post, but I challenged Steve to a 1v1 for $1, closest to the pin.
Yeah.
And he beat me.
Yeah.
And he beat me. I challenged Steve from Good for
That's
$1.
awesome. Why would you never release that?
I look real. The swing's no good in that video. I can't post it. That one's just for me. It's just private for me.
Just for the huevos alone, I
Yeah.
think you need to post that. That's awesome. So it's fun to hear about how you consumed it, because what made you decide that you wanted to start, because you were already filming your swing before you started
Yeah.
to launch content. What made you decide, I'm going to turn this Instagram channel into a golf channel?
So I've been like you said, I've been recording my swing for a while. I started a golf TikTok like a year ago, and literally it existed. I didn't expect it to get any traction ever. I wasn't posting anything that was engageable or shareable or likable or commentable. It was literally 7-second swing videos, just so I had a place that I could edit some music to where I hit the ball on the beat, and
it's
it's
fun.
just like right, it just existed. And then one day, I posted a video of my hitting bay in my garage, because I'd had an idea I always wanted to be able to hit at home. I had this really awesome idea for how I could do it and have it be like set up and set down in like 10 seconds, and have my wife still be able to park in the garage and all of that. I was like, this will be sick. I spent $400 and set up my little hitting bay in there, and I was just posting some more, once again, like lame swing videos in my garage, and somebody goes, hey, can we see more of your garage setup? I'd love to do something similar to this. I was like, okay. And so I record a couple clips and edit it and put it all together, and I post this video on TikTok. And in like 2 days, it had like 150,000 views. I was like, what on earth? This is insane. And so, but I had a lot of questions on the video.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'll make another one. And I made another video the next day, and posted that one. And literally within a week, both of them had like 300,000 views on TikTok. And I'm just like, Oh, that's cool.
People want to know how
That's
to build
sweet.
something
There's
in
like
their garage.
there's so many comments, and so like the shares and the bookmarks are my favorite things about those posts because it's everyone like trying to do it the same way.
Yeah.
And literally since I posted those on Instagram and TikTok, I've gotten like 50 DMs of people like, "Hey, look, this is my setup. I just matched your setup. Hey, I got one yesterday, and it was this dad, and he says, "Hey, me and my daughter, who's on the high school golf team, just replicated your setup in our garage. Thanks so much for the awesome
That is
whatever." And I'm just like,
amazing.
"Oh, that's so cool." And it also helps that I got some Amazon affiliate links and posted those on my page, and that actually made me almost as much money as I spent on the entire setup, which is
Because
kinda,
you sold,
which is kind of cool.
that is
Um,
cool.
And so anyway, I posted those on TikTok, and I was like, maybe I should make an Instagram as well. Like, why not? And so I made an Instagram when I had 1,000 followers on TikTok. Is the day I made my Instagram, and the day I hit 1,500 followers on TikTok, I hit 3,000 followers on Instagram. The Instagram blew up way faster than
And it was your garage one. It
the
was
garage
the one that really went viral.
The garage
right?
one went really, really viral on Instagram. The TikTok one still only have about 300K. The Instagram video has like 870,000 views right now
That's
of
awesome.
my hitting bay video. And then there's another one I have that's me and my little girl that has almost 500K right now. But then, like we were talking about, I was making these videos at the range. I have one with this kid, Tommy, this freaking awesome Korean kid, golfer. I think he's a pro or something. I posted a video with him, and that one hit 100K on my Instagram of me and him in this little first to hit the stinking impossible barrels. We picked the wrong barrels. The blue barrels are way harder to hit than the red barrels. And so that one hit 100K. I have another few that I did. I did one with Scales. I did one with this other kid named Rhino, who's just a baller. I don't think he makes content, but he's just cool. And so I just started making stuff, and I sat myself down before it because I know I can get caught up in.
I was going to ask you about the process.
Yeah. I can get caught up in the notifications and the validation and the always on my phone and especially in a dopamine deficient ADHD brain, swiping and refreshing my notifications of like 5 more likes, 10 more likes, 2 more. I knew I could get sucked into that. I still do sometimes, but I said, okay, I'm going to make content that I enjoy making. I'm only going to make stuff I enjoy making. I'm not going to make stuff that I don't like for views, for clicks, for follows, for whatever else. If I enjoy myself, the content will be more engageable anyways. If I'm having a good time, it will be better.
Jimmy Tropicana just did a piece on his TikTok within the last week or two. He's taking questions. And what's up, Jimmy? If you're watching, he was asked, what kind of content should I be creating, from people asking? And he said, whatever you like, just create stuff you like, because there will be people that like it too.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts. You find where your space is, and there are plenty of people who want to build a hitting bay in their garage. So that's
and that was a great kickstart to it, because it like told Instagram that stuff that I'm making is worth pushing, because I've been so fortunate, to be honest. Like, I've just gotten algorithm blessed a little bit, because a lot of my stuff that is lower quality than a lot of other people put out is just getting lots of views, and I'm super grateful for it. It's been really fun. But I think that my brand sounds a little pompous, but it is, right?
Yep.
I'm not the kind of guy, I'm not the alpha that's just like, look how far I can hit a 7-iron. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I am. I'm not the look at me hit 130 mile an hour club speed. Like, I'm not that golfer. I'm good enough at golf that it's not miserable to watch me swing a golf club. But I think what I love the most and what is the most engageable is like the connection element of golf. And that's why I think those videos at the range, like those challenges and stuff, they're so fun. And like videos with other people and with the connection piece of golf and with the life. And also, I think this is maybe a tip for a lot of golf social media content creators, is like, there's enough good swings on Instagram that if someone's looking for a swing to model, it's probably not going to be yours. You know what I mean? Like, they're likely not going to follow you because your swing is freaking sick. I think it's a lot of the people want to be around people they like or people they want to be like.
Yeah.
And they don't know who you are or what you're like if you never share your personality. If it's another voiceless, faceless swing video hole vlog, there's not a whole lot of connection they can feel to you other than, oh, that guy played that hole well, good par. You know what I mean? And so what I've tried to really lean into is like as much as I can speak, as much as I can have my face, as much as I can smile and tell a story or engage with someone else.
Telling a story is my
It-
pillar. I
yeah.
think that's the people want to hear stories. That's why this show was kind of created, and I definitely agree with you 100% on all of it across the board. But about storytelling, I think that's the content that I consume the most is character driven. Stories, just
Yeah.
golf stories,
100%.
and challenging people to a dollar bet on who can hit the beer
barrel-
pong barrels first
yeah.
is fun.
It's totally, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. What are some things that that you would change about golf? Are there things that you wish were different in golf?
Well, one rule I firmly believe in that I make all my friends play is the gallery drop rule. Have you heard of this rule?
No.
The gallery drop is if you hit your ball somewhere where you know you should be able to find it, like you saw it down in the rough or in the whatever else, and you can't find it, it's always a free drop. Always a free drop, because if there was a gallery there, if there was an event being played, someone in the
Someone
gallery
would have
would
found
have this ball.
So if it's not blasted out into
If it's not
the
fully out of
desert-
bounds, you get a gallery drop.
I love that rule.
I 100% think that social rounds, even if you're keeping score for a handicap, I think if you
If a
know
gallery
it
were
should
there-
be there and a gallery would have seen it, I think gallery drop is my.
Gallery drop is genius.
Yeah, it's
I
a good
can
rule.
get behind that.
It's a good rule. It's just not. It's not fair. Which, like, golf's not fair, right? But like, still, I think that's a rule. The other thing is, and this maybe will connect into a little bit of a different story, is, I think the more inclusive and the less angry old freaking grumpy old white man golf can become, like, the better it is for absolutely everyone, right?
That's a theme that's come up in this show dozen times.
Yeah,
a dozen times.
I just think it's so, like, there's certain things that make sure that the game is playable after your round, right? Like, there's certain amounts of courtesy that, like, actually matter. Like, repair your divot, like,
Of
put
course.
some sand down, fix your ball marks, like that kind of stuff, that kind of courtesy, I think just applies to life in general. That's the kind of stuff I want to teach my kids, like, fix your ball marks and put your shopping cart away at Target. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
like, clean up after yourself, leave it better than you found it if possible, all that kind of stuff. I think there's other elements to it that, like, what you wear, if you're treating the course correctly, I don't think matters nearly as much as being kind and respectful. You know what I mean?
You're preaching to the choir.
And so I think elements like that, the more that's included, the better it is. I had a really cool opportunity just last week. So my mom works at Utah Tech, what used to be Dixie College in St. George, Utah. She's the chairman of the board of directors there. And she is really closely connected to the owner, the developer of Black Desert. The new
brand new one.
bajillion-dollar course in St. George. I literally think the facility alone is like $2 billion,
Wow.
right? Like, it's insane. That guy is the most kind and gracious and giving person that they have right now, like, donating to their school team. They're literally building this multi-million-dollar short game practice facility where they've set up, it's unbelievable. They had their architect, their designer, go to all of the schools that they play against in the WAC, in the Western Athletic Conference. And he went to all of their home courses and found the hardest pitches and chip shots on each of their opposing teams'
And went
courses.
and replicated a practice.
And then built this massive multi-tier practice facility with, it's like the green is here and it's like multi-tier and crazy, but then they have these pads that are into the Black Desert rock that you, like, go up these stairs and you can hit from all these different spots all over and replicate the hardest shots on every course that they play.
Wow.
Is that the most unbelievable thing you ever heard? So anyway, I got to go and see all of that. But what I loved from him, and what is something I'm trying to keep in mind, is we were like, what's your business plan behind all this? Because, like, they've sold out every lot that's available. Like, they will never not make money there, right? And then he's done, this is like his 15th course or something he's done, right? And we were like, what's your real goal here? Like, what? Like, this is kind of your crown jewel, but, like, what do you want from this? He goes, honestly, Black Desert is a tool to effectuate impact. Like, I want to use Black Desert to create impact and especially the conversation turned into like LPGA and women's golf and all of this, where he just wants to treat the women golfers as well as or better than all the tour pros, because women golfers go to events and like the best amenities they get are like Uncrustables, and he's like, no, we are taking care of them. We are doing all this stuff. We're going to go above and beyond. We're going to book their travel and their flights and their hotels and all of this. We're going to put them up in the resort. And people on his team were like, that doesn't pencil. We can't do, like, this doesn't make sense. We're not going to have the viewership, all this. He's like, you don't throw a barbecue because it pencils.
Yeah. That's great.
I love that line from him. You don't
great.
throw a barbecue because it pencils. You do it because you care and you know that you want to give more than you take and you want to host more than you charge. And that energy from him of just wanting to do what he can to create change and to create the putting green is like 2 acres on their course, and it's right outside of a restaurant and a pool. And there's no dress code on the putting green. You can go out there in flip-flops and swim trunks and putt on this gorgeous $1 million putting green.
Wow.
Just the same as somebody in their fancy tour staff outfit out there putting, right? It's so inclusive. It's so, like, all of it's just like public. Like, you can just go and engage and enjoy this amazing place that should be a country club with a hefty price tag. And that's what I think it needs to turn more into. But
yeah, that's a blessing for golf. And we agree on that. Inclusion has been my biggest desire for golf. You know, we separate it as kind of the purists, which is what I grew up in and am from generations of golfers. And there's plenty of the respect for the game that needs to stay the same. But loosening of the reins, I think, is one of the phrases that comes up a lot. You know, again, dress code. You don't have to wear a collared shirt. I mean, Tiger was the one who took collars out of golf.
He's wearing his
you can
mock neck, turtleneck, whatever. Yeah.
So slowly but surely it's happening.
I think I'd
that's
look
fun.
better in a collar than a turtleneck. Personally, I don't know if I could really pull that. That's a confident look to wear
that is a
mock
confident
turtle,
look.
So
yeah.
I don't know, but absolutely, man. It's just like, because like the best parts of that are being outside. One, we're all like behind a screen. COVID made us all work indoors and remote anyways. You never go freaking outside. So just being outside in nature is so good for you. And then there's an element of like, sometimes it's fun to go really grind and play by yourself. But for me, my favorite rounds of golf, I don't remember my score. It's whoever was in your group, right?
Who you were playing
with. It's
with.
who you play with. It's going out and being able to enjoy yourself. And that's something that I think I learned an important lesson when I was dating my wife, and it's affected me forever, and I'm so grateful. One of the things my wife and I used to do when we were dating is she would come over to my house, and we would literally play like dumb card games, like Skip Bo and Phase 10 and Uno, while watching like childhood favorite movies, like Ratatouille and like Lion King, like literally like as wholesome of a Northern Utah, a couple Mormon kids dating as you could paint in a picture. We'd sit there and we'd play card games and just like hang out, and it should be perfect, right? Everything is literally perfect. And I'm getting furious that she's beating me in Skip Bo. I'm like literally mad. Like I remember she beat me. I don't know if you know how Skip Bo is played.
Yes.
But you got a stack of cards that you're supposed to get rid of, like the big stack
Right.
you're supposed to get rid of while you're playing your other cards. And she got rid of like all 15 of her cards, and I'd only got rid of like 12. I like lost like 13 to and I was just like, I'm so embarrassed that this was a real moment, but I'm so grateful for it for the rest of my life. I stood up and I walked downstairs to my kitchen. I just like walked away.
You walked out?
I walked out because she beat me so bad. And I'm down there in the kitchen. I'm like drinking. I'm just like so mad, just stewing. And I like had this like someone hit me on the head like, dude, you got a cute girl here at your house. You're watching freaking Disney movies, playing cards.
Yeah.
She
And
thinks
upset.
she thinks you're all right enough to still be over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, oh yeah, I should be thrilled to lose that game every time. Probably puts her in a better mood anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back. And that moment taught me how to lose and be just totally fine with things not going my way on the things that don't matter. And I very much believe that that's transitioned into my golf game, where like I can have my best round or my worst round, and I will put money against me being the last person to get upset on a golf course. And I love that, and I wish more people would be able to be competitive and like enjoy getting better at the game, but also just like it's all good. You
It's
know what I
all
mean?
good.
And so that's something that I'm really grateful for, and I hope to. I've got 2 little girls. I've got a almost 4-year-old and an almost 1-year-old, and I hope to play with them forever.
Have you introduced it to the 4-year-old?
Yeah,
yet?
she loves it. She brings it up all the time. She's been out on the course with me a couple of times. She helps me drive the cart, but she'll hit with me in the hitting bay, and we'll putt and stuff, and it's really fun. So
That's great.
yeah.
I love all that. Alex, thanks for coming on. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Good times. We're
Okay.
actually going to end the first segment of the show and jump over to the second segment, which we call our Par 5. We ask the same 5 questions of every guest each week. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Shot number 1. What's your favorite golf movie?
Oh, my favorite golf movie. I've seen a few, but the one that comes to mind is The Legend of Bagger Vance.
Legend of Bagger Vance gets brought up a lot.
I don't know, I love that show. I remember getting semi-emotional at the end. I also just like don't cry in real life and always cry in Pixar movies, so like movies can do that to me.
Pixar movies and great athletic movies like Hoosiers, Rudy, Miracle on Ice. Those get me too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've watched Remember the Titans 1,000 times, and I cry every time. So it's just so good. So it's funny. I haven't seen a lot of them. I don't think I've seen Happy Gilmore more than halfway through one time, which seems like a shame. I should probably do that. But
Yeah, for
there's
your
also one with-
generation.
There's also one with Shia LaBeouf. Which one's that?
Greatest game ever
Greatest
played.
Game Ever Played. I like
Yep.
that one as well.
And yeah, the Francis We Met story, and that's a classic. Yeah, great. There's so many good ones, but the fact that you may have only seen Happy Gilmore once
It
is
seems
funny.
like a shame. Although I don't know if it counts as a movie, but there's a special. There's like an hour-long special on Tiger winning the U.S. Open at Pebble by like 17 shots or whatever. That is epic. That's
Yeah,
one of my favorite
that
pieces.
counts.
I love that as well. That's a cool freaking production.
We had J.R. McMichael say that Full Swing on Netflix was his
Full
favorite
swing.
golf movie.
No, Full Swing, episode 6 about Tony Finau. I'm a Utah kid. I
so that one hit.
love Tony with my heart. My wife is Hawaiian. They're all Polynesian, and Tony is, and their whole family and all of Utah just loves Tony Finau. He is, oh my gosh.
Tony's
such
come up on the show before, not only
such a
as a
great guy.
favorite, but his brother Gipper has
Yeah.
played with Matt in Alaska in the past,
Yeah.
and the
Big Matt?
Golf
Is that Big
Fathers,
Matt?
yeah, Big Matt, and the Golf Fathers they had a big match last year that did good on YouTube, so
Yeah.
that's fun.
I got to follow. I've only been to one tour event ever.
Was it here?
And it was Waste Management.
Oh, you got to go to the Waste Management.
I got to go Waste
Tell
Management.
us about that.
I moved here from Phoenix most recently, and oh my gosh, dude, it was so fun. I went with some buddies that had been before, and my younger brother, who like kind of likes golf, but mostly just wanted to hang out. And so it was like a networking thing. This business invited our regional to like sit in the fancy box on 18 and like network and whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna go walk with Tony's group. I literally walked 18, followed
day?
Tony the whole time. He played great. He shot like a 2-under round or whatever. And his coach was following him. I like hung with his coach and like shook his hand, and we talked on a couple of holes. And I saw some of Tony's family following him and stuff. But
Shay
love-
Shay was on the show in the spring, and she has a similar story about Tony Finau and his family and following them around TPC. So that's funny.
dude, literally, it was cool too because Rory's group was right in front of Tony's group. And so when the holes would like go out and then come back this way, we'd just stay in the middle and we'd watch them
Watch 'em.
putt from a distance. We'd watch Rory hit missiles.
Bombs.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I stood from us to the camera from Colin Morikawa. He was warming up on the
Wow.
on the chipping green because it was like right against the rails, and I was just like, "What's up, Colin? This is
Yep.
cool. I've seen you on camera a bunch."
And watching those guys hit the ball in real time is something.
It's really cool, man. But yeah, Full Swing Tony Finau episode. I freaking would die for that, man. That is a wholesome boy right there. I love me some
love
Tony
that.
Finau. Yeah.
Question number 2. We've already established your 60 degree is your favorite club in your bag. We normally ask why. What do you think it is about the 60 that makes you the most comfortable? You definitely feel like you're good 80 in.
Yeah, so I have in my garage, we didn't talk about this a ton, but in my garage I built my simulator setup. And my favorite thing to do is it'll tell me, I measure everything off of carry distance. I don't look at rollout because it's always going to be different on the course conditions, whatever else. And so I focus really, really hard on dialing in my carry distances. And so I do this drill in my garage where I will go from 10 and then in 10-yard increments up to 80 and then back down to 10. And my challenge is to see if I can go 100% on carrying a ball within 5 yards of the target. So that maybe is a little bit complicated, but
No,
the
I
first
understand.
swing is I have to carry it between 5 and 15, right? Within 5 yards of my 10-yard target. And then 20-yard carry, and then 30-yard, 40-yard, 50-yard. And I've done it multiple times.
So you've got it all paced
So I'll
out.
say, oh yeah, I know just the positions in my hands, and I know where everything sits, and I'll still thin it over the green on the course. But I feel really confident if I even like I've got 36 yards to the pin, and I pace off the front of the green. Okay, I want to land this 28. I'm gonna go just barely under my 30-yard carry, and I'll put it in close way more often than I should for how well I sometimes putt. But I love that. And it's also like gamifying it, which is what my brain needs to be engaged in something. And so it's like very intentional short game practice. And I freaking love it, man. I absolutely love it. I had a sweet shot yesterday where I had exactly 70 yards and I hit it to like a foot. And I hit my position exactly, which is vertical to hands on top of my ear for 70-yard carry. And I hit that absolutely perfect, watched it the whole way. The guys I was with were like, great shot. I just go over and tap it in for birdie. I felt really good. And so that's why I love that and how satisfying that is to practice because I can be really intentional about all of those distances.
That's so cool. All right. So I was going to go to question number 3, but you mentioned that we didn't talk enough about your garage. Why don't we go back and catch that a little bit? Tell me about how that idea started and how you built it.
Yeah, so I have been looking at simulators, golf simulators, forever. Like for the last 3 or 4 years, my wife has known that at some point I'm building a hitting bay or cage or something to be able to hit. We almost lived in St. George for a minute, and we actually bought this home, sold it literally 4 months later and my wife was going to surprise me with this cage, with this 10 by 10 by 10 cage in the yard. She's going to build it with my dad and have it all ready when we moved in or something. But we ended up not moving in there. And then we were renting in Phoenix, we just never actually had the time and space to build a hitting bay. And then when we got to our current place here in Vegas, I was like, I got the spot outside. I'll build a hitting bay out there. And then I started thinking, I was like, I'm going to get bored of just hitting. I want data. I want numbers. I want all of this. And I'm not going to leave a simulator in the 100 and death degree heat in Vegas. It has to be inside. How on earth do I make this inside? Like, we don't have the room for it. My garage is shaped really weird to where we just have a bunch of crap from life because you just keep collecting stuff as you keep moving.
That's a garage.
And so we only had room to park her car. And so it's a 3-car garage, and she parks right in the middle. We got storage over here, like a camping trailer and other stuff over here. So there's just not a ton of room. I couldn't park even my truck in there. I was like, how on earth do I do this? Because every home hitting bay is a fully permanent cage, like set up with like your projector screen and your walls and your all this stuff. And I was like, how on earth do I do this? And I literally had the idea. My parents have, one of the bathrooms in my parents' house has this curved, like this bowed shower curtain track.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's not like right in line with the tub. It like curves outside.
Yeah, it
so
comes
it
out.
feels like there's a little bit more room in the shower. I was like, I wonder what I could do with that. And then I was like, okay, so like hospital curtain track, this curtain right here, right? I was thinking about those. I was like, they just hang stuff from the ceiling that opens and closes. I mean, everybody that's hitting into their pop-up net in their garage, the net's it's not even all the way to the ceiling, and they're still not hitting it into the ceiling. I bet if I stood close enough, I wouldn't even need anything on the ceiling. Okay, And so I put it all together. And so the idea I had was I'm going to buy 20 feet of ceiling curtain track, hospital ceiling curtain track.
Yep.
And I ran it 6 feet on the right, 10 feet across, and 4 feet on this side, right? So 6 and 4 for 10, and then 10 across. 6 feet extra on the right side to protect from the shank into my wall, right? And I bought a 10 by 20 impact net, nice golf impact net for $109. The curtain track was $30. And literally, I was just like, I bet this could work. I did a lot of research on the hitting mat, and you can buy one for $100 or $150 on Amazon. But a lot of the people that actually build home setups are like, the one thing you shouldn't skimp on is something to hit off of. That's what your wrists impact with every single swing. Like,
Yeah,
you can
need a
get
good
away.
mat.
You can get away with other stuff. And so I bought a mat from, it's called a Monster mat. Brand was Monster Mats.
Couple hundred maybe.
It was $350.
Yeah.
And it's felt amazing so far. And so I spent $350 on that. I spent basically $150 on the net and the curtain track. And so for $500 total, I back my wife's car out, and it sits against my wall. I open it like a shower curtain in 1 second, and then I hit balls off of the mat because the mat's not in the way where she parks. And so the easiest setup and takedown ever. Once again, if it's not super easy or convenient, my
You're
brain's
not
just
doing
going to
it.
be like, I want to hit, but like I don't want to deal with setting it up. It is so simple. It's so simple. Car backs out, curtains open up, and I can hit in 60 seconds from walking out of my door into my garage. And so from there, I bought a launch monitor. I spent a little extra on a nice one that can integrate with good courses and good programs and stuff. I bought a SkyTrack, which it's funny. I've reached out to them to give me a code. They never gave me a code. So I actually recommend a Rapsodo to everyone who asks me what to get, because Rapsodo has like this really cool, super portable $700 option. Not sponsored, by the way. But it's awesome, and it's so accessible. It makes it so accessible to me because I work during the day, then I put the girls down. Baby goes down at like 6:37. The other girl goes down at like 8, and now it's like 8:39. Like I can't always make it over before the pro shop, even over here, closes, right? And so I'm just like, but it's 9 p.m. Wife's working on a fun craft project. I got nothing to do. I'm like, I'm just gonna go hit some balls. Throw the garage doors open, turn a fan on, turn some music on, and I can just gap my 60-degree wedge and just have
How often
fun.
do you do that?
I mean, at least twice a week at home, because I'm also coming over here now that I'm shooting content. I can't always just film content in my garage. It's like not quite as fun to watch.
Right.
So I'm coming over here a little bit more often now. But I mean, at least twice a week.
That's
and
great.
Before I was coming over here more often, I mean, it was every day for a couple minutes. Like I'd go out on my lunch and just like hit for 10 minutes, right? Because you just can. And sometimes my little girl will be like, Dad, I think we hit golf balls now. And so we'll like go out in the garage, I'll open the net up, she'll hit her plastic club 6 times, get bored, and we'll go back inside. So yeah, that's been so freaking fun. If you want to do one, freaking check out my page.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like literally, it's so easy. I've helped multiple buddies do it. Like,
And all of the links to Alex's stuff will be below, so you'll be able to check all of those out just by going into the description of this video, and we'll be publicizing that when this show airs in a couple of weeks as well.
yeah. So anyway, that's the garage.
Don't
That's the garage
apologize.
setup.
That's
Yeah.
what we're here for. Question number 3. I've rearranged the questions starting this week, so purists will get a kick out of that. And we've talked a little bit about your spirituality and your Latter-day Saint.
Mm-hmm.
So that might, we may already know the answers to these next 2 questions, but we talk a lot about the relationship with alcohol in the game and the relationship with anger in the game. So
Yeah.
question number 3 is, what's your aiming fluid? When you are out on the golf course, what's in the cart? What are you drinking?
Yeah, it's funny. As a kid from Utah, most all of us don't drink, which is why ice cream shops do better in Utah than bars do. But I honestly, dude, little blue Powerade. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, Gatorades and waters.
I'm a blue Powerade kind of guy. If I need something else, I like Dr. Pepper sometimes, but I don't know. I'm a real skinny kid. I don't eat a lot anyways, and so I don't need a ton to keep me going. Before a round of golf, I think if I do have a morning tea time, my only real ritual is a sausage egg McMuffin, 2 hash browns, and an orange juice. If we get that order, McMuffin,
You're ready to go
2
play
hash
golf?
browns and an orange juice. I'm good. You throw me just my Stanley full of water, and I'm good to go. So I don't really have anything that I like need to have out on the course. Snacks,
fun.
I'll do like, I tell you what, a Rice Krispie at the turn is about all I usually need to keep me going. I don't know. So,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
Question number 4 is going to be anger, and you
We
walked
kinda
out
talked-
of a skip bow game
Yeah.
once. So is that kind of how you deal with it now? Like if you hit bad shots, you just don't. You even said that about sculling out of the bunker the other day.
Yeah.
You just kind of chalk it up. You've really got that whole thing
Yeah.
conquered.
It was literally yesterday. I'm playing with these 2 randoms. We were all solos. That pace of play was too slow, so we all joined up, or singles, I guess. And they both took this hole a little seriously. I was playing great. I'd just come off a great birdie, par 3, 8th hole over there, and it's like 165 yards. I pull 7-iron, and I hadn't hooked a single iron all day. Hook it into the water, and I was like, no, that's too bad. I'll hit another one. And I hit another one, and I push it right into the bunker. I was like, hey, I didn't make the same mistake twice. That's pretty good. And so now I have a bunker shot right side of the green. Green slopes away from me. I'm on the down slope in the bunker. The down slope on this side.
Right.
And so
The far side.
I've got down slope, green running away, water long. And I'm just like, in my head, this isn't something I have practiced. This likely is. I'm going to give it my best go. I have my bunker thoughts, and I'll see what they do. And I literally, my exact words, I hit the ball. It went into the water. I was, I'm probably not going to donate more than 2 balls to this hole. I think I'm good here.
Done on
And
the
I
hole.
went and I pulled the flag for my playing partners. They put it in. I put it back. I go, that was a really beautiful hole. And it's not forced at this point because it really was beautiful. It's like sunset, like the sun had just gone down. It's like 68 degrees. I'm in a polo and joggers, and it's perfect out. Like there's no wind. It was the most beautiful evening of golf. And I just hit 2 nasty shots, way worse than should be my level of play right now. And it's like, I think things that you can't change, especially things in the past, right? Things you can't change and things you can't control, why allow them to control you and where you're at? Like, that's how I try to think. I don't always think that way. But even in parenting, like, I think one of the things that parents will very often do is get emotional about their children's emotions. Like if my 4-year-old throws a tantrum and gets really worked up about something dumb, like she didn't want the apples cut that way and she gets really mad. She's feeling emotions and letting those affect how she interacts. I'm not going to let her emotions make me, I'm not going to get mad at her, become mad to get after her for her feeling mad, right? It's like the more level and present I can be and feel, like the easier everything is, the more logical I can be, and the more I can enjoy the good of those moments. And so I feel like anger for me in the game, it's just not even it's really not a factor.
That's so cool.
The most frustrated I've ever felt is I played a 2v2 with some friends. It was me and a bad golfer versus my buddy who's a good golfer and the brother to the bad golfer, which they actually are both great, but definitely 20-something handicaps, 30 maybe. And I had been practicing more than I ever had before, and I lost to my friend.
Oh, no.
Shout out Stetson. Good match. I lost that match, and I was just like, I was a little disappointed because all the practice I've been putting in was nowhere. My wedges are the strong suit of my game. I thinned every shot between 60 and 100 yards that match, and I was just like, what am I? But still, like, I felt the frustration in the match, and I was able to just be grateful to have those friends and that we're all healthy and that we get to all go play. And it's like, it's not something that comes immediately, but trying to live with gratitude just makes everything just so much more fun. Like, why let something you can't control affect you and let you be mad? That's not how I want to present myself. And
Nope.
That's not the environment I want to create.
It's
right?
a great
And so,
message. Yep,
anyway,
I love that.
That's really important to me.
That's going to bring us to the last question of the show. My favorite question. What's your dream foursome, Alex? So I'm going to give you any 3 people alive or dead, you get to pick to go play a round of golf with. Who are you taking, and where are you going to play? Which golf course?
Heck yeah. So I got two answers. One's the cheesy dad answer, and one's an answer that people probably won't even know who I'm talking about. My first answer is my dream forever since I've been playing golf is to be healthy in my 50s playing with my kids. That's like all I want. I don't even need them to play competitively. I don't need them to be amazing. I'm going to let them choose to what extent they do play.
Yeah,
I have
just
two,
to go enjoy the time.
I have two girls right now, 4 and 1. And my dream group to go play golf with is my 2 girls plus maybe one more girl. I'm a girl dad. I'm not an alpha. I'm not a red meat.
Yep.
Kind of look how strong I am kind of guy. I'm just not that. And so my dream group to play with would be maybe my 3 daughters. And both groups we go play Augusta because we're just playing Augusta. Come on.
Augusta keeps coming up now, and it makes me so happy.
And but also I grew up in Atlanta, right? And so like
Yeah.
I have some attachment to East Coast and all of that, and it's just like magic, right? And so that's I
Yep.
would love to do that. And also my other dream is if Sam, my oldest girl, or any of them ever really play competitively, to just caddy. I feel like I have the right balance of knowing when to coach and when to give input and when to just let somebody rock and kind of like operate. And I would so love to just let her be like, no, I think it's a 9-iron. Awesome. Here you go. She hits it. Great shot. Clean the club. Put it in the bag. Walked out. Oh my gosh, dude. I can't imagine a better moment in my life than those moments.
Caddying fantasies is fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would love that. About a year ago, I saw a dad playing a twilight round with his 2 daughters. And one looked 13, one looked 11. All 3 of their skinny butts just sat right in the same cart. And they were driving around, and he apologized because they were playing pretty slow. His girls weren't great. They were hitting a couple of shots when it should have been one, right? And we were waiting on the tee box. And a lot of people are going to be like, can you imagine these people? Can you believe these people out here just play? And I just sat back, and I didn't even want to pass them because I had so much fun kind of seeing the future and seeing this dad playing this twilight round with his 2 girls just enjoying the game, just hanging out together. And he was like, I'm so sorry we're a little bit. So I was like, dude, you're good.
So
this
great.
This matters more than my pace of play. You're good, dude.
Right.
And so that's my cheesy dad answer. Now my other answer is, and you maybe know some of these people because it seems like you're a music guy. I would not want to play a dream round of golf with good golfers. I would not want to play with Tiger. I don't think I'd have fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to watch Tiger play. I don't want to play in front of him. I don't want to hit a tee shot. I enjoy playing golf. I don't think I'd be in a good headspace that round at all. I'd love to watch Tony play. I don't know if quite yet I want to hit a ball in front of Tony. Although if I were to pick a pro to play around with, it's Tony Finau.
Yeah.
Bajillion%. My 3 people I'd want to play golf with are 3 musicians.
Okay.
And it's because, one, I think that all suck at golf. And so I'd look good in something. And it's 3 pretty different people. 2 of them are like music geniuses and are probably my favorite living musicians. And it's Chris Thile, who is a mandolinist, bluegrass genius.
Yep.
Do you know Chris Thile?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I grew up listening to country and bluegrass.
Good country.
And Chris Thile is, I believe, maybe the most brilliant musician alive. I think he is unbelievable. And if there's anyone that's even on the same level as him, it's his cart partner, which is Jacob Collier.
Oh, okay.
Who is also a super genius, and there's 0% chance he's coordinated enough to play golf. And so those 2 like music theory nerds would sit in a cart, and I would just love to hear them talk and just exist and be around them. I've listened so many hours to both of them. I love music. That's one of those things that, once again, really calms my brain and provides a lot of comfort. And then the last one, he is dead, but it's Louis Prima.
Oh, sure.
And Louis Prima, old jazz musician. For anybody that doesn't know that guy by name, he's the voice of King Louis in the original Jungle Book. The original Disney Jungle Book. Now I'm the king of the swingers. So that's Louis Prima. If we have a boy, my wife's maiden name is Lou. I'm going to name the boy Louis.
That's awesome.
After Lou, the maiden
Yep.
name, and then also Louis Prima, because I love that guy. Every musician, he was big time all over, but he was big time in Vegas. And every musician of that time, Frank Sinatra, all these massive names, huge performers,
Yeah.
would go to his show to learn how to put on better shows. All of them say, if you watch anything about Louis Prima, every old school superstar musician says that he had the best live show ever,
Yeah.
of all time ever. Him and his boys would just come through, snaking through the crowd, playing their trumpets and everything. And I just think that he'd be the guy I'd sit in the cart and kind of make fun of the music theory nerds. And he'd be great vibes. He'd be so freaking fun to play with. He's got some old school mob stories that I'm sure he could just tell me some stuff that was pretty fun. And I think the three of us would have a great time. I'd probably shoot the low score of the group. And I think that those are the people I'd be the most interested in and enjoy myself the most to play with.
Those answers are always so fun, and
Yeah.
I love that. Alex, thank you again.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely, man.
Really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on. This was a treat. And go follow Alex. Go introduce yourself to him the next time you see him out on the driving range. Thank you for watching again this week. We'll be back next Friday. So until next time, hit 'em straight from your friends at Angel Park. Cheers.
See ya.